everyone, and welcome back to Star Wars The Force Unleashed on Steam. I am One Well Sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be continuing onwards with the rest of the Hoth DLC mission. And you might be wondering, this part's pretty long, despite the fact it seemed like we were pretty close to the end in the previous part. Well, that's mainly because the what can I say? This DLC hasn't got the best pacing in the world. You think it's about to end because you fight Luke, and then there's an entire, like, half of a level left to go. I suppose you could count Luke as a mini-boss, because that's about as difficult as he was at the most, but I don't know. I guess they probably could have handled the pacing of the stage better, that's all I'm saying. But one of the things that's kind of, I find really weird is the sound design in these DLCs. Now, this will only really apply to the PC version of the game, and not so much the console version, but for some reason the sound design on the PC version is obnoxious, and I think I may have already commented on this a bit during the original LP, in which the game's audio changes all the time. It fluctuates. It doesn't stay a one set audio as most games do, you know. The game was a lot quieter than the cutscenes were in the initial LP, which means the amount of audio editing I actually had to do for this LP is, needless to say, a lot more than I normally do. Let's just say that much. And I don't really have to worry too much about the audio editing in the DLC missions so much, because unlike the main game, the audio is set up properly, you know. The cutscenes are about the same audio level as the actual game's volume, so it's a lot easier for me to edit, I'm gonna say that much. And it's a lot less annoying when you're playing through the DLC, and because you don't have to worry about your ears being blown out, because all of a sudden you can hear the gameplay, and then you're getting screamed by bloody, he's getting screamed in the ear by people in cutscenes, and the sound design could have been better in this game, I'm gonna say that. Still a fun game though, I'm not gonna deny that any other way. Although now we get to this point by here, you see this by here? Pull it out. Now, you may initially, if you play the game like me, think that's a plug that's allowed, you know, that you're meant to pull out, and what it basically does is turn off a force field somewhere. No, it doesn't. Unplugging that plug will give us access through this walkway. If we go through this walkway, then, well, we'll move on with the level, needless to say. You know, it's a pretty roundabout way of handling things, but we get there in the end. But yeah, these, the rebel troops that we're fighting by here, they're probably the weakest mooks in the game, really, apart from the Wookiees at the end of the first level. Well, not even at the end of the first level. During the first level, Wookiees were probably the weakest enemy in the game. These mooks are, I'm gonna argue, weaker than Wookiees, and I think they did on purpose to make you feel a lot more powerful when you're in your evil "I'ma kill you" form. But I don't know. I'm just surprised they didn't put more challenge into this DLC, considering this is based after the main storyline, so they probably would assume that, oh, you beat the main game, you're gonna go to the DLC now. That's usually what most games are like with DLC anyway, especially like Sonic Unleashed. Dear God, the DLC in that game. Ugh, I shudder to think about it. And that's probably why I'm not covering that DLC when I tackle that game at some point in the future, but I digress. Anyway, you don't need to do this, but you can open up the containers holding up these Obama Snows, so you can if you want. They're there. Sometimes they'll jump on the rebel troops for you, and sometimes they'll attack you directly. Their AI is a little bit... What's the word I'm thinking of? Not predictable. Unpredictable, that's the one. So, yeah, you may have a couple of issues with the Obama Snows, but hey, if you do open up that little hallway, you get Sith Holocron that gives you a health drain, which is the most useless health drain Holocron upgrade in the entire game, because as you can see by now already, it's already run out. A cutscene initiated, and for some reason the timer on the power-up went through even during the cutscene. So the cutscene finished, and, well, what do you know, my glorious power-up's gone! I wanted to drain their health. I wanted to suck their life force. It's pretty draining when stuff happens, I'm not gonna lie. But, poor puns out the way, even though I'm quite proud of my puns. There's certainly something that I like. We're now into this game. A force field. Yeah, because that definitely worked on me before. That's definitely gonna work this time, isn't it, guys? Oh no, my one weakness. Now, as you're gonna expect, just like the first force field we initially had to destroy, where we had to block a generator, we're essentially gonna have to do that again. But now we're in a room filled with enemies that, if I remember correctly, constantly respawn. So these goons can be a bit of a nuisance to deal with. But a couple of charged for, a couple of Hadoukens here and there, a couple of grabby, throwy, and we'll be perfectly fine. One of the things I do love about this room, though, is you can actually pick up the torpedoes on the X-Wings and throw them at people, so, yeah, I do kind of like that. But anyway, it's two ways you can really go about dealing with this level. You can either rush past all the enemies and hope you don't die, or you can try and kill as many enemies as you can to make things a bit easier on yourself and not electrocute yourself like so. Now, there are a couple of plugs plopped about the place, and honestly, I don't know what these plugs are for. I honestly have no idea. I like pulling them out anyway, because whenever enemies are in the vicinity of the plug, let's just say they're shocking, to say the least. Or at least the effect of the plugs are shocking. But I digress. Although I always found it interesting that lightning affects a gun turret as if the gun turrets... Why would a gun turret be affected by electricity? It doesn't use electricity, does it? Then again, it shoots lasers, so it could do. I don't know. Anyway, there's two ways you can... Well, I'd say it's two ways. There's only one real way you can deal with this generator, and that's just grab things and put them inside the generator until the generator explodes. With these generators, though, if you put in smaller objects, it's going to take more smaller objects to get it to blow up. But you can actually grab one of those snow speeders that are flying out of the hangar, if you want to. And those will immediately destroy one of the generators, so I recommend doing that. You can also chuck enemies into the generators as well, which would cause them to have a pretty explosive fate. They will, let's just say they won't be around to do anything. Their bodies will literally disintegrate. It's no remains. But yeah, like I said, grab the snow speeder and just gotta put you over here. Sorry about that. I feel sorry for the guy in snow speeder. He must be really confused at this point. He's like, what's going on? Why is it moving on its own? Yeah. So yeah, I kind of feel sorry for the guy. You must be pretty dense to think that, because let's just say your density isn't sorry, I'm gonna abort that pun right away because I know I'm gonna probably cringe people by doing it. But anyway, yeah, round 2 with Luke's skyscraper here, and basically he's a bit more aggressive, but for the most part he's exactly the same as he was in round 1. Although I think his character model is a bit more angry. He's got an angry face going on, so I guess there's that. But he is susceptible to being picked up and thrown about, so feel free to do that if you want. And honestly, he's a pushover. However, when his health gets below a certain point, things may change a little bit. Well, he's still going to be pretty easy, but he will actually possess a possible challenge. There is a chance that he's going to beat you when his health goes below a certain point and he goes into his next phase. But like as with all bosses, electric attacks destroy him. And he's a lot more susceptible to your normal force attacks than other bosses in the game as well, so if you want, you can really pick them up. I'm actually being a bit more defensive here than I usually am, so I'm quite surprised at that. But, yeah. What a shocker, I beat him. Who would have seen that outcome? Jesus Christ, boop! I'm a boop you on the head!
destroy you, Skywalker, as I destroyed your father.
The Emperor should have sent someone strong.
And there we go, Luke is now fallen to the dark side, and that apparently gives him the ability to utilize Kaioken. And as you would expect with using Kaioken, it means he's a lot more powerful, he's going to deal a lot more damage to you. And he's no longer as susceptible to your force attacks as he is at this point. Now the giant B icon at the bottom of the screen, ignore that. That's a glitch. As you can see, I'm spamming B, nothing's happening. So ignore that entirely. I don't know what caused it to happen. When a quick time event pops up, it's gonna get rid of that glitch. I don't know the cause of it. I think my PC was just having a hiccup, and it was just like, oh, I can't take all the epicness that's occurring on screen. Evil Luke versus evil Starkiller. Although I have to say, I love the way his force lightning looks. It looks red. I don't know. It looks amazing. I love the way it looks. So yeah, actually now that I think about it, Jesus Christ, he is actually using Kaioken. His moves turn red, he turns red. Like his health bar's even turning red to this point. I mean, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Although, whenever he goes to charge up his force push, just like with when Darth Vader goes to do it, just simply dash out the way and it won't hit you. Like I said though, he has a chance to kill you, but he's still pretty easy in the long scheme of things. He's not the hardest boss in the game, and you can take him down just fine. So, let's finish off this first DLC mission once and for all. Dan. I was actually gonna chuck in a movie clip from The Croods there, but I figured I might as well not, because I can't bother get the movie clip, and I've already used it in the past recording session I did. But that's beside the point. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people. And when we return next time, we'll be taking on the second of the DLC missions, which actually takes place before this DLC mission. So, oops. Sorry. So thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all next time when we take that one on. So yeah, don't be sheepish, people. Hope you all enjoyed. Bye!